Hello everyone, good evening. Let's wait a little bit longer. We're on. Thank you that are here now with us for this hour. Hello Mariella, welcome. Thank you that you're watching this later on. Thank you Bridges of Light, and thank you Life. Hello Titi, hello everyone else. Titi Anastasia, beautiful name, I like it. Hello Valeria, ciao. Today we're going to be together for 1 hour on Bridges of Light International, and we are going to be talking about the power of thoughts and emotions. Hello Sophia, welcome. I'm going to tell you, hello Valeria, I'm going to tell you what my life was like before 2002, and I give you an idea of what I mean by the power of thoughts and emotions, and how my life is now. Hello Alessandra. Good dressed, good dressed, yellow. Yes, look, I'll show you it. It's like a, you see, I love t-shirts with funny things on. I don't know why, it's one of the things that I love. But anyway, so, and it's really hot here today, so I thought I'm not gonna put a long sleeve shirt. Okay, Siri is gone. Okay, I hope. Okay, right. While I tell you what I'm telling you, I would like you to think what are thoughts and emotions, and what do you think the power of thoughts and emotion is. You can ask questions. I love when you ask questions. So ask me questions if you have them, or share something. And before we open the conversation, I'm going to share something with you. This is how my life was before 2002. This is a metaphor, of course. My life was as if I was sitting on a bus, and this bus was driving through amazing landscape, beautiful, beautiful places. Well, some places maybe they were not so beautiful, but most of them they were. Although I wasn't looking at the scenery, I wasn't paying attention to where the bus was going. I was too busy looking and arguing and thinking at people in the bus. I was looking at what they were doing. I was judging them. I was arguing with them. And I was, all this arguing, all this judging was generating in me some emotions that I didn't like, and also some thoughts that I didn't like. My life now, more and more, but definitely after 2002, it's different in the sense that I am still in the bus. I am more aware of what happens in the bus, but most of the time I am able now to look outside the bus, to look outside the window, and I am able to appreciate the scenery. I am able to enjoy the ride. What I mean by that is that before 2002, ciao Chiara, see you later. Before 2002, I was busy in my head to look at, I was very taken by my thoughts, by my judgment, I was busy comparing, so I was arguing, and the emotions that I was generating, they were most of them negative emotions. And while I was doing that, while I was so preoccupied and busy being in my mind, I was missing life. I was missing the beauty of life. You see, the journey of life. Now, I am more able to enjoy what is outside the bus, what is outside of myself. I am more able to be present, and although, of course, I still know what's going on in the bus, meaning I still have my thoughts and my emotions, but my life, it's not driven primarily and exclusively by my thoughts and my emotions. But one thing that I realized is that, which I wasn't aware of, that we are not our thoughts and we are not our emotions. We are something else. We are that which is experiencing them, is the other which that is experiencing the thought, is generating sometimes the thought, and sometimes is just seeing the thoughts appearing, then is experiencing the effect of these thoughts and maybe the emotions that these thoughts generate. But I am not it. You are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions. But the power of thoughts and emotions, it's immense. It's so huge that because of the thoughts we think and the emotions we feel, we may be inclined of thinking and believing and perceiving ourselves, others, and life in certain particular ways that may not be corresponding with reality. And by reality I mean with factual reality, with how things truly are. But unless we realize who we truly are, which is a spiritual being having a human existence, the one that is seeing thoughts, and what happened is that until, in bracket I'm saying that, until we wake up, so to speak, meaning until we are not aware of being the one that, if we choose, we can generate certain thoughts and we can choose and also generate to feel certain emotions, we are at the mercy of the conditioned thought that we have acquired when we were growing up. And these thoughts were generating some conditioned emotions that we acquired when we were growing up. Have you ever experienced in your life that you have some thoughts that they seem to have a life on their own? It's almost as if you didn't generate them. And have you ever experienced other times that you can actually generate and produce some thoughts? And the same thing with some emotions. This is a question for you, so I would like you to interact with me. Before I keep talking. Because one thing is if I talk to myself, like I'm doing, and I don't know, we're not having a conversation, the live is not alive. And one thing is when you actually share one of your experience, and here I'm asking you of sharing an experience regarding your thoughts and your emotions, or ask a question, but engage with me, please. Otherwise, I keep talking, but I get bored after a while. Hello, Silvia. Helena, hello. Nice to see you in English. Yeah, thank you, Helena. Helena, please tell me, what is your relationship with thoughts and emotions? But being more specific. Ciao, Silvia. Hello, Silvia. Being more specific. Tell me if you ever had the experience of thinking a thought or even feeling an emotion and you almost didn't know where that thought and that emotion came in. In other words, it just appeared almost out of nowhere. And has it ever happened to you that you have generated a thought and you have generated and chosen the emotion you wanted to experience. Has it ever happened to you? And by the way, at the end of the life, I'm gonna be leaving you I call it the invitation, which is just a few sentences that, as always, I invite you not just to read, but to put into practice. And they're just very, very simple things you can do on a daily basis to be able to monitor, to look without judging the thoughts that appear in your mind. And then, if you don't like some thoughts, I invite you to literally generate different thoughts to replace them, and also to choose emotions you would like to experience. If you start doing this on a regular basis, as always, it's the regularity that really changes, transforms something in ourselves. Hello, Matilde. Great to see you. So if you, right from now, if you start to build a relationship, but literally as if your thoughts and your emotions, I invite you to regard them as being something else. Like you are, well, whatever you are, and that's your thoughts, and there are your emotions. And I invite you to look at them, simply, notice the thoughts, notice the emotions. Don't judge them thinking, I invite you not to think, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this, or I shouldn't be feeling that. No. If you want to transform your thoughts and change your emotions, the first thing it's important for you to do, is to look at them, really look at them, and develop a trusting relationship, like if you were with a person. So don't judge it, don't resist it, and don't condemn it. Simply look at it. It will be easier for you then, after the thoughts or the emotion has appeared, to then change it. For example, if you are somewhere and you're, like one of my recurrent thoughts, before I realized the importance of thoughts and emotions, some of my current thoughts were like, life is difficult, this is boring, they are terrible, this is terrible, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, if and when now I catch myself, I catch myself thinking something like that, what I do, I intentionally generate another thought, which is of a different quality. For example, if I was thinking, this is boring, I said to myself, maybe there is something I can learn from here. Do you see what I mean? And that thought opens a window and generates an emotion which is different from the one that the thought, this is boring, would have generated. I don't know. But I don't know if I make sense what I said, because for some reason nobody's interacting with me tonight. Now, I don't know if it's because you are not writing anything, or, let me see, or because I am not reading your comments. Let me find out. And also, do you think, does it come before the chicken or the eggs? And by this I mean, do you think that thoughts generates emotions, or emotions generates thoughts? Who do you think comes first? If you think that one of them comes first. Let me see if I see myself. Yes, it's the comments. No, let me see. Okay. Let me see if there's other comments here. No comments. Okay, no. Tonight nobody's interacting much. Okay, that's okay. I'll keep talking to myself. Not really mega enjoyable, but hey, this is it. Okay. Now, thoughts and emotions are very, very, very interconnecting. And it is not easy, and it's almost impossible, I would say, sometimes to understand emotional. Elena's feeling emotional, are you? And sometimes it's difficult to understand Okay, Sylvia said, oh, good, now we are live. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's boring otherwise. You can't understand how boring it is. I think emotion generates thoughts. Sylvia says, I think emotion generates thoughts. Definitely, I would say, yes, emotions are much stronger, meaning emotions are generated by the heart, and the heart it emanates some electromagnetic waves. So, and it's a very extremely potent and powerful electromagnet. Like the brain emanates thoughts, but thoughts that are electrical in nature. They're not so magnetic, right? So, yes, you're right, Sylvia. If you, in saying that, if you feel, for example, think about this. When you feel frustrated, when you feel angry, when you feel sad, isn't it difficult to even think or even say to somebody, for example, life is beautiful, or I like you, or I love you? Isn't it? It's very hard. And at the same time, if we are feeling very happy, if we are feeling very excited about anything, most probably we don't think of anything negative. And negative thoughts just would not even enter our mind, and we could not tell somebody, for example, something that we would say when we are angry, because the electromagnetic waves of the heart, they are influencing so much the way the mind is thinking. So yes, having saying that, it can be that we are at peace and there's no emotions, and then we start thinking of something negative. Maybe we ruminate, we think about an argument we had, and we think and we think and we think, and as we think, a thought generates another thought and then another thought, and then the emotions, then we ignite the heart. So the emotions gets generated, or the other way around. We could be intentionally thinking pleasant thoughts, and what is very powerful is to visualize something of a positive nature, and that may then generate a positive emotions. But yes, emotions are more powerful. Emotions are the fuel. They're like, it's raw energy, when a thought is more of a potential. In fact, a thought, if it's not backed up by an emotion which is congruent with the thought, it's very difficult to manifest what we want. I'll give you an example. I may be thinking, I want to, for example, I want to go and climb a mountain, okay? But if the desire of climbing the mountain is there, it's unlikely that I will materialize. I could think about it, visualize it, but the emotion, the real energy is not there. But if I think I want to climb a mountain and the emotion is there, meaning if I really truly want to climb a mountain, and that thought is aligned with my innermost pure desire, whoa, there you have it. I will climb a mountain. If it's the other way around, meaning if the emotion is stronger, and even if I tell myself, oh, I don't want to do that. For example, have you ever been in love with somebody and your heart says, yes, I want to be with a person, but your mind says no. And you know maybe that person is not the right for you. But who wins? The heart, the emotions. So yes, Sylvia, I wouldn't really say that who comes first or after, because I think that the thoughts might come first. But definitely if the emotion is there, it overrides the thoughts. Yes, it's more difficult to govern, let's say, to control the emotions. The thoughts are easier in a way. Titi says the same. Emotions come first. Yeah. Mariella says, before you didn't see the real value of life. Before you didn't see the real values of life. Your attention was captured by negative judgment about people, excuse me. Ah, you're talking about my experience, thank you. So before you didn't see the real values of life, your attention was captured by negative judgments about people unknown. Now your life has changed. You have realized that your priorities are different. Looking out of the bus, all the beauty of nature, you don't need to formulate negative thoughts. Yes, judgments about people. You can meet on your way. Your life now is allowed to be different because you are different. You see the same things under different prospects. Yes, that's what's happened, Mariella, exactly. The outside is not changed. Life and the beauty of life has always been there. It was me that wasn't able to see the beauty of life because my thoughts and my emotions, they were negative. Now I can, two things have happened, I think. Now, I can see outside, while before I couldn't even see outside. I was so preoccupied in my thinking and in my emotional life that I wasn't even paying much attention outside. But even when I was looking outside, I wasn't enjoying what I was seeing. Yes, because I was judging. Everything was blurred for me. Everything was filtered by my negative thoughts and my negative emotions. Now, these filters are, lots of them are gone, so I am more able to be present. And if there are still thoughts and emotions, I am able now, or more able now anyway, to generate some positive thoughts and positive emotions. So even if I judge something, most likely it's a positive judgment. Hello, Roberto. Great seeing you. Silvia says, feeling certain emotions triggers our mind to think, and most of the time they're not helpful thoughts. Yes, yes. If the feeling, it's not a positive feeling, it's not a upbeat feeling, there's no way that we generate beautiful thoughts. It's almost impossible. And even if, and this is what happens when we try to generate a positive thoughts and we don't feel well. Even if, let's say, we feel frustrated or we feel sad, and we try to formulate a positive thoughts, and sometimes we do it because of a situation we're in, or we don't want to burden other people. But what we do, we're not in congruence with what we feel. So that thought, is we have to make an effort to generate that thought, and it's not a genuine thought. It's not in resonance with what we feel. Hello, Enrico. Mariella said, now you are a positive and helpful guide. Well, I don't know. I'm definitely more, I am definitely more positive than what I was. That's for sure. That's for sure. And something else that I'd like you to reflect upon is, because the point ultimately is, okay, thoughts and emotions are powerful. And if I have, why are they powerful? Because we know if I think negative thoughts and if I generate negative emotions, I resonate, I vibrate, I emanate vibration of a certain kind, and they will resonate with people and circumstances alike. I used to attract accidents, arguments, and things of that kind, and now I don't. So what do we do? How do we do it? Well, imagine to have a garden, or actually a piece of land. And in this piece of land, there's lots and lots of kind of grass. But you want to make a beautiful garden, right? So what do? Let's say the garden we want to make beautiful, it's our psychic, our mind. And the plants that we can see now in that gardens, they are plants we don't want them to be there. Maybe they are because they are judgmental thoughts. They are negative thoughts. So what do? This is when awareness, presence, love towards them, because okay, let's say we have judgmental thoughts. If we are judgmental towards them or towards us for having judgmental thoughts, it will be very difficult to change anything. Let me explain it again. Sometimes people, that's why it's not always so imminent and so easy for people to change their mindset. Sometimes when people realize that we create our own reality, they go, oh, that's great. I create my own reality by my thought. So they think, oh, I should or I must from now on only have positive thoughts. But what happens if we are attached to that belief, that thinking, is sometimes when we catch ourselves thinking a negative thought, or thinking, oh, I think he or she is terrible, or whatever it is, and we know that we don't like that thought, we would like to take it out from the garden. Instead of just look at it and recognize it and think, okay, now I put you aside and I say, actually, maybe things are different. Maybe he or she is different from what I thought they were. You see, I'm replacing the thoughts. Sometimes what we are tempted to do, to generate another judgmental thought, but not about them, about us. You think, oh, I am so stupid that I am judging somebody. I shouldn't think this. So then instead of having just one negative thought in the garden, we have two. Do you get my point? So that's why I invite you to be very loving, very unconditionally loving, also towards your judgmental thoughts, also towards your emotions that you don't like. Because what you resist persists, gets stronger, and controls your life. What you truly look at and you let it do its course and be whatever it is, be it a judgmental thought or a negative emotions, if you're just being present to it, it goes. And when it goes, when you created the space for it to shine as nastily as it did, like, she's a bitch. Okay, great. Oh, really? Okay. Then you can take it out, meaning you then formulate another, okay, thank you. Then you formulate another thought. Maybe there's something of that person that I haven't seen yet. Let me see, you see, and you plant another one. And then another time that another negative thought comes in, you just look at it and you go, okay, thank you very much. And you generate another thought. Do I make sense? And when we do that, forever, by the way, you know, these are not things that I invite you to do for 1 day, 2 days, 3 weeks. No, forever. But then what happens? Then it becomes, or when it becomes for you second nature and natural, when you have replaced all the negative thoughts, there's nothing to replace, because you wouldn't even be thinking of replacing a thought when it's a positive thought, and that when it generates a positive emotions. But I would say when we're working with the mind, I know it seems tedious, but this work, this kind of exercises, or call them work, they're necessary. Because if we don't do them, well, another possibility would be to literally ignore the thoughts, and it's possible to realize that we are not our thoughts, I'm not our mind. So my mind is talking to me like the nastiest bitch on earth, and I think, okay, I don't listen to you, talk to the hands, it's not me. But it's not easy to do that. We can do that when we are really aware, and we can see them and we know, okay, this is just my conditioning. But if we are not trained to change the thoughts and generate them, what happens is that when we are low energy, when we are tired, and when we are frustrated, we haven't got the consciousness, the centeredness, the presence to understand that we are not our thoughts. We believe them, we generate the negative emotion, and go on. And we don't get out from the vicious circle. Titti says, where did judgment come from? Oh, thank you. This is a great question. Good one. I like it. Where did judgment come from? And how we can stop them? I find it's very difficult to do it, but I really would like to learn not to do it. Because it seems that when you judge someone, negative or positive, come back to you in a way. What do you think about? Wow, thank you so much, Titi, for the question. I love this question because I love this subject. By the way, the next live on Wednesday will be exactly called The Key to Freedom, and we will be starting and going as deep as we can, talking about judgment and how to get rid of it. But let's start talking about it now. Judgment comes from the conditioning that we had. We have learned, we have been trained to judge. It's a learned mental activity. And I tell you when we learned it. When we were kids, it depends. Some people, most of us, when we were kids, but tell me if it was your case or not. It certainly was my case. This was the general scenario. Okay. Adults were telling us, for example, to me, Luca, in this situation, I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you want. This is wrong and you must not do it. Okay? This is right and you must do it. Now, if you don't do what I want you to do, you are bad. So you are not, and I won't love you, and you are not worth of being loved. So if you want my love, and if you want to be worthy of being loved and deserving my love, you have to behave in this way. So you have to do what is right. And you have to like what is good and beautiful, and you must not like what is wrong and is ugly. Okay? So from a very early age, we learned many things. We learned that we couldn't really honor and follow what we were feeling, because it wasn't important how we were feeling about something. It was important that we would behave in a certain way according to other people's judgment. Okay, so, and we also learned how to be controlled. They were controlling us according to how we were behaving. So we learned very early that basically we learn how to prostitute ourselves. We learn how to negate our feeling, and we learn how to behave according to how other people wanted us to behave, because they had to like us. You see, when we were kids, we were bound by our parents for two major things. The double bind was we needed our parents to be fed, physically fed, so we had to, in a way, accommodate them. We couldn't really say, you know, I'll do what I want. And also we needed, which we needed even more than food, we needed their love. We needed to be loved. Children need love even more than food. So we would say blindly yes to anything they would tell us to do. We would learn anything. So we were conditioned to judge. We were conditioned to always think, okay, what is right and what is wrong? I have to do what is right, because so if I do what is right, they're gonna like me and I'm worthy of my love, and I must not do what is wrong. Okay, so we've got lost into judgment, and this is our ego, our mind that judges. How can we stop that? Okay, what I always advise people to do right from now, what you want to do, because some people, by the way, when they understand that judgment, I regard it to be the seed of all suffering. Judgment is a psychic attack. Every time we think he or she is terrible on a esoteric spiritual level, it's as if we take out a sword and we tear to the very fabric of their essence. Our soul cannot stand being judged. But some people, when I tell them, and I have them to understand that judgment, it's not only dangerous, it's a psychic attack, it's actually futile, there's no need for it. People think, oh my gosh, but if I wasn't judging anything, I wouldn't know how to behave and what to do in life. But that's not the case, because we have even overlooked, we don't even think of the organic alternative to judging, which is discerning. In other words, We judge when we are in our head, when we think, is this right or wrong? Is this good or bad? Which normally are the first questions we ask ourselves, aren't there, when we're faced with a situation. Is it right or wrong? Good or bad? But the other way, which is the organic, the anemic, our soul, our essence, doesn't judge at all. What it does, it discerns. Discerning means to know, to understand, but at a very deep organic level, meaning, how do I feel about this? You see? So instead, and it's not difficult, but from now on, Titi, I invite you to, instead of just asking yourself, is this right or is this wrong? Ask yourself this question. How do I feel about this? But do this slowly. Don't run. Your head, your mind likes to run, but do this slowly. Ask yourself, how do I feel about this? And then wait, take your time. Then check in with your body. But if you do this with present, you can feel it already. Right or is this right or wrong takes you right straight in your head, in your intellect. But your head, your intellect, it knows nothing about presence and about reality. It's all about concepts. Right and wrong, good or bad, and ugly and beautiful, they're all concepts. They are empty things. They are not alive. They say nothing about reality. Nothing. They're all concepts, abstract and arbitrary. They've been invented. This is the realm of the illusion. Nothing real about it. But do it now. If you ask yourself, how do I feel about this? That question brings you, do it now, in your body, because your body feels. You have 5, well, more than 5, and then we have the 6th sense and many others, but we don't see them, but they're there. But let's stay with the physicality. We're 5 senses, okay? Sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. And what they do, they are the portal to our soul, our essence, that is one with life, with everything and everybody, communicates in this kind of reality and perceive everything through our senses. You see, sometimes we say, oh, my life doesn't make sense. Of course our life doesn't make sense, because we are not used anymore to be in our senses. Some kids, they were lucky enough to have been trained and conditioned to judge at a later age. So for the first few years, maybe they used to honor their senses, and then they were trained, and then they're more likely when they grow up to be rebel and to free themselves. Some other kids, they were not so lucky. They were trained very early, and instead of honoring their senses, they started to honor 100% their judgments, which is not their judgment, by the way. The judgment is always something that arrives from an outside source. We don't make up judgment. Think about it. You have to learn about judging. And how do we see that in action? We see that in action, for example, when there's a group of kids playing, and maybe one kid is happy as it is. Other kids, maybe they are just asking him to do things, and because he say yes, he just does it, and maybe between them they argue, and then they make peace straight away. But then what happens? And I think we all have seen this happening. Then one day an adult sees what's happening, maybe all out of love, of course. Maybe the parents of the kid that was asked to do many things more than others, but he was happy. That parents take the kid apart and says, you know what? Are you stupid or what? You should not allow them to treat you like that. You are better than that. You are cleverer than that. And the kid, you can see that he's looking and saying, what? He doesn't understand. But that's how we learn judgment. That's how we learn how to judge. Before that, and this is actually when I would say, this is when we are psychically raped. That's the original sin. It's judgment. Before then, the child is pure. It's pure. It just does what it feels like doing, and it's not thinking that taking the mickey out of me is I'm better, I'm worse. Do I make any sense? So yes, how do we do it? I'll learn how to do it. Go in yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel about it? Don't think about it. How do you feel? And then honor your feeling, honor your body, honor your essence. Don't honor your mind. Your mind will tell you stories and stories and stories. And did you ask anything else? Because it seems that when you judge someone, negative or positive, way come back to you in a way. What do you think? Yes, of course. Every time, okay, because what is our mind, our thoughts, we project our thoughts and our emotions. So if we put out negative judgments, they come back, these thoughts. You see, what you judge, you will become. What you condemn will condemn you. It is a universal law. There's no escape. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you hear people, when somebody is very judgmental and he judges other people, he's telling us a lot about him or her. But maybe yes, but maybe nothing about the other person. But he's telling us about a part of himself that he's judging, but it's a disowned part of himself. Like, let's say he or she is very bossy. Well, you can see there's a bossy part in you, so you are bossy. I mean, you are not bossy, but there's the bossy part of the personality in you. You have it, but you disown it. And what you do, you project it out and you judge it into others. It's fascinating. Hello, Bernice. Mariela says, Mariela says, I think you have lots of things to teach. You spend a lot of your time in talking with us to make us know the possibility we have to live better, to become better, to live unconditional love, to be able to practice forgiveness. Thank you so much. Yes, you might be right, Mariela. Yes, that's what I do. But you know why I do it, Mariela? Because, simple, I went through it. I went from believing my thoughts and my negative emotions and to generating different thoughts, different emotions, and my life has changed. So now I live, in a state of peace most of the time. I'm serene, I'm happy. And I know how to do it. And why do I do this? Why I love doing this? Is because I always say it, and I'll say it every time. I am talking to myself. You are an extension of me. I am an extension of you. You are looking at a part of yourself outside and inside. Even there, there are just thoughts. There are concepts. There's no outside, there's no inside. We are all a universal energetic soup. We seem, and that's the illusion, we seem divided. And also, that's one of the reasons, Titi, why we judge. Because it's an illusion. Man believes in illusion. We are trained to believe only in what we see. And so we compare. I am tall, you are short, and all these bananas. But that's the illusion. We are all one thing. So why am I investing so much time and why I really want you to get what I'm saying about? Because your happiness is my happiness. Your joy is my joy. Your suffering is my suffering. Does it make sense? So I'm doing it for me, really. Because we are one. There's only one of us here. There's only one of us. So anyway, Mariela says, to believe in ourselves, to love ourselves, to live positively into different relationships, such as win and not victims. Yes, if we believe in ourselves, if we love ourselves, and if we live with a positive attitude with all relationships, as win and not victims, yes, that's how we live as, let's say, winners. Because it's possible. There's no need for winners and losers. That's such an old school concept, so boring, so yesterday. Competitiveness, so yesterday. I win, you lose. It's ridiculous. I would say even this, I did a live once, we can do it again another time if you want to. Even the concept, but this is, I take it lightly, but I want to say, even the concept of victims, perpetrators as well, it's an illusion. If we find ourselves to be the victims again and 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 again, you know what? But we'll talk more about this next week. We are not victims of perpetrators outside of us. We are victims of our thoughts. We are victims of our conditioned thoughts. we are victims of our negative judgments. And these negative thoughts, this is the power of thoughts, they project outside the negativeness that we believe exists. Somebody materializes our thoughts, this is how powerful we are, and they betray us. And maybe that person goes away from our life, but hey, what happens? Somebody else comes in, or another situation, and what does the situation that the person does? What do? They manifest my negative belief, my negative thoughts, and I'm thinking, I'm such a victim. I was one of them. I'm such a victim. Oh, nobody loves me. Life is terrible. No, it's not others. I'm not a victim. Or maybe yes. But the only thing I am a victim is my conditioning. That's, I think, the only root of suffering. It's not others. Others are playing out like good, because they love us, like good lovers are playing out like actors, our scripts. But it's our scripts that play out. Okay, okay, Sylvia says, thank you guys, by the way, for interacting with me. So much nicer. Otherwise, it's like, what? Okay, Sylvia says, I know this is a $1 million question, but how can we prevent new and future parents from making lethal mistakes as far as conditioning the mind of their children into a channel of fulfillment and frustration, trapped in a way of thinking that makes them victims and not creators? Okay, how do we teach the parents? But tell me what you think about this, okay? This is how I would phrase it. Listen. And because a kid is not stupid, huh? If we tell a kid, okay, you are perfect and worth of love, being loved as you are. I love you unconditionally. Okay, when you behave in certain ways which they are not enhancing your well-being and others' well-being, and I may give you an example, like if you steal from somebody, if you kick, if you're violent with somebody, and so on and so forth, this would be the consequences of your action. And also, because it's not something that is enhancing your life and the life of others, and because I love you, although I do love you, but in those circumstances, it will be more challenging. It will be difficult for me to express the love that I feel for you, okay? And if you behave in certain ways which they are enhancing your well-being and the well-being of others, you will experience different consequences, right? So if you give out something to somebody, if you express generosity or kindness, you most probably will receive generosity or kindness. And when you behave in these manners, it is much easier for me to express to you and show you the love that I feel for you. Can you see the difference between the first way, like the way that normally we'll be talked to, meaning you are worth if you behave like this. Otherwise, you're not worth of my love and I don't love you. I retrieve my love. This is different. Because here we start saying, I love you, I love you. And you are perfect and worth of my love, first of all. Of course, there are certain behaviors that, and also I explain you, certain behaviors that are not enhancing your well-being and the well-being of others. And they generate certain circumstances. And the kid is not stupid. And when you behave like this, it's not easy for me to love you. I can tell you now, I do love you, but in those instances, it's not easy for me to love you. In other instances, okay, the consequences will be this, and also because they are enhances your well-being and the one of others. And in those situations, it's easier for me to love you. Can you see the difference? I personally think that it would be a functional way of educating children. Titi says, thank you. It seems a long work. Some kind of work. Yes, it takes a moment. It takes a moment. Just doesn't happen like this. It seems a long work, but thank you for the clever advice. Maybe it's just good to feel the body. Yes, in the moment of judgment and let it go. Yes, try and do that. But whatever you do, yes, try from now on to check in your body, meaning to feel your body. And then, because your senses will tell you, when we follow our senses, our life makes sense. But we don't follow our senses when we go in our head. Like, have you ever been, Titi, in a situation when you had this gut feeling, gut instinct of maybe stay away from this situation of this person, or vice versa, like, oh, I like this person, or I like this situation. But you didn't listen to that nudge, right? And that was your sense, that was your senses, that was your instinct. But what you did, you thought about it. You said, well, but actually, it's not such a bad idea, it's a good opportunity, or the other way around. Or maybe it says, no, but maybe it's not worth it, Anyway, you talk yourself either into the situation or out of the situation, only to find yourself later on in time thinking, if I had only listened to my senses, I wouldn't have been in this situation. If you ever find yourself, this is what I mean. So, in certain situations, I think, act before you think. I know we are taught to think before you do something. Well, if you're really in contact with yourself, with your essence, if you want to live authentically and full-heartedly, follow your instinct, follow your feelings. Don't follow your mind too much. But then again, it depends also in which context. Titi laughs, thanks, you're welcome. Mariella says, sure. Celia says, in the first instance, about teaching, educated kids. In the first instance, we fall into the usual law of cause and effect. Exactly, Celia. Yes, it's the law of cause and effect. That's it. If you behave duality, if you behave like the carrot and the stick. If you behave good, I give you the treat. If you don't behave good, I hit you with a stick. Yeah, that's mental. That's training. That's like training a dog. That's like training. It's conditioning. It's pure conditioning. And that is why I would think some people, unfortunately, globally still, they have very much confused the word love with the word trade. Sometimes people talk about love, I love you. You don't love, who do you love? Yeah, because you know what, people love you until when? And they idolize you, you're the best thing on earth, until you break their expectations. Ooh, when you behave like they don't want you to behave, that's it. From loving you, they hate you. Where was the love? That's not love, but that is how we learn love. The love we learned, it was a trade. It was you give me this, I give you that. Because with this training, we learned very simple, okay, need was already there because the kid needs something from the parent. It's undeniable. But then we learned conditionality and control, meaning cause and effect, which is conditionality. If I behave like this, you give me this. If I don't behave like this, you don't give me this. So, and control, with conditionality, control goes hand in hand, meaning, and this goes both ways though, stay with me. Okay, the parents were controlling us, meaning to make us behave like they want us to behave, they would say, if you want this, my love, which is the biggest blackmail that you could do to somebody, emotional. If you want my love, or if you want something from me, you have to behave like this. If you don't, you won't get it. So they are controlling us. But we learned, and sometimes we forget about that, it's all about them, but we do the same. We learned how to control them because we learned very early as kids that the emotional state of our parents or caretaker was depending on how we were behaving. So we became manipulative as well. In other words, that's when we started to prostitute ourselves. We knew that if we wanted to make somebody feel good or bad, all we had to do is to play with them. In other words, we had to make them believe something. We had to behave in a certain way we could alter the emotional reaction, and us the same. And this is the base of what? Of love, which is not unconditional, conditional love. And that's why we're also depending on other people emotionally, which is terrible. Seriously, it's terrible. You can't love somebody if you tell, I know it's a very good, nice, romantic notion, but it's damaging. Think of the responsibility you give to somebody. You say, my life has no sense without you. I can't live without you. Holy sugar, get away from me. I'm serious, get away from me. Because if somebody's like that, you will never make them happy. Never. They have you like this. That's their love. It means if you're not with me, I can't breathe, I'm not well. Are you kidding? No, seriously. But we're talking about a very deep thing that is so ingrained in humanity. Do you know what I mean? It's good to be dependent on what? On the butcher, because you need the meat, or the bread, so the bread maker, the electrician, or whatever else. But if you're depending on somebody, on your emotional well-being, and you're not emotional autonomous, you are not able to love. Because whenever you feel that you're loving, you just trade. You want to get something because you need something. We are only able to love able to love when we don't need anything, guys, anything from anybody. Then I love you. You know why? Because I want to be with you, because I feel good, because I have something to give you, and I like what you give me. But even if you don't give me anything, I don't care. I just like you because I love you, because you're beautiful, because I want to spend time with you, not because I need something from you. Does it make sense? Easier said than done, I know, but because we've been trained, not for other reason. Sorry, anyway. Okay. Mariela says the key is controlling our minds. We can be able not to express easy and negative judgments to control the key is controlling our minds. We can be able not to express easy and negative judgments to control our instincts. Yes, but I don't know if you're saying here that the key is learning how to control our minds. We can able not to express easy and negative judgment to control our. Okay. Yes, you say you can control your mind and becoming and transcend judgment. I guess you're saying, Mariella, that the key is to be able not to be judgmental. Definitely, yes. If we are able, exactly, not to become judgmental, yes. Control our instinct. I don't know what you mean, but straight away, I wouldn't say that it's so good to control our instinct. Well, to a certain extent, but instinct, if they're not already conditioned and trained, and they don't go towards something negative, I don't see anything wrong. I think we are animals. So if you're not damaging anybody or yourself, why should you really want to control your instinct? But I don't know what you're actually thinking about this. So I don't know. But definitely, yes, if we are able to not to judge, that would be amazing. Yeah, that's one of my job is to teach people to learn how not to judge, to discern, to go beyond judgment. Sylvia says, my concern is to get the parents to have their awareness raised on the huge consequences of the effect of the Newtonian law. Yes. What do? Teach mindfulness. Yes, teach mindfulness at school. Teach people about quantum physics and their inner deity. Yes, why not? I think that would be a great idea. Absolutely, yes. Teach them about to be present. Teach them about how to discern, meaning how they feel instead of what they think. And yes, teach them about the consequences of our thoughts. That we create our reality with our thoughts. Yes, all these, I think they're all very, very effective way of psycho-educating somebody. Mariella says, really, and laugh. I don't know what you're laughing about. What did you laugh? Sylvia says, I would introduce books by Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Osho, except in school. I would as well. Yes. Chopra, Dyer, and Osho. Yes, I would do the same. I think they would truly help. I think, yes. Osho is an amazing one about being yourself and liberating yourself. You see, I truly believe and I don't know why we have this concept that we are such an evolved beings here. We are animals, for heaven's sakes. Animals have not disturbed the ecosystem as much as we have. Why? because we have the presumption of knowing more than nature. But why? And so because of that, sometimes we're not honoring our instinct. And our instinct is just our inner guidance that says, yes, go towards this or stay away. But because our instincts are connected with the all. So if our instincts has not been tampered with some conditioning, it's in tune with everything. So it will be, I presume, with the highest good of everyone involved. Guys, it's 8 o'clock. Oh, I hope no more questions. Okay, perfect. We went through everything, and then there's no more questions or anything. So, but thank you very much for interacting. That was beautiful. I enjoyed it. The more evolved we feel, the more unhappy we feel. Yeah, I agree, Sylvia. I agree. Let's go back to basic. Let's be animals. Basic. Ciao, belly. I love you, and I'm gonna see you on Wednesday, 6 o'clock UK time. Ciao. Have a good evening. Ciao. Ciao, Chiara. How do I do this? This.